What's good, everybody? Welcome back to my Cadillac Cartoonz, and today I'm going to show you how to draw a pine tree or evergreen tree with a brush pen. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw out the shape, the initial shape of the pine tree, and that's going to be like a cone shape. So let's, and with me I want to get like precise when I'm drawing this cone. But however way you want to draw the cone, or however way you want it shaped, that's totally up to you. But to me, I like to do it as like a regular cone, and like an everyday cone that you see. And then what I like to do is I like to add like 3 layers, because you know how like pine trees, they have like a layer that goes outward and then comes back in to do something like that. So that's what I intend to do later on with the brush pen. So it's gonna look like a candy corn basically. And then at the bottom, I'm gonna want to put the bark, or whatever this part is called. So it's gonna look, and see it's starting to look like a pine tree. But when I go in with my brush pen, which I think I am just about now, we can go ahead and refine everything and like put all the details in place. So we're gonna start up here at the top. Erase all those, and then once we get to one of those layers, we can come outward, and then we can come in and scribble in along this line that we drew with this brush pen. I mean, I suppose you can do it with like a micron pen, but to my preference, I like using a brush pen because it allows me to have some dexterity when I'm doing these lines here. So that's what I like about using it. All right, and then we can go to the next layer, and again come outward. And then as you go lower when doing these lines here, they're gonna get a bit bigger. So you might want to expand something like this. They start to get like, basically you're kind of like zooming in when you're going downwards when drawing the pine tree. And then once you get to the bottom, just do the same thing, except you're gonna be making them larger. And if you want, you can add like little spokes, or little like what's it called? The same lines we drew here, here, and here, we can add like along the tree somewhere. Doesn't really matter. Alright. And then once we get to the bottom, we could draw a line, like only these 2 lines, because the bottom part we're going to do the same thing, because let's just say it's sitting on grass, and we're going to draw the grass like right here. So we're going to draw these 2 kind of parallel lines, but these 2 lines that face side to side. And then we're going to make the grass, because like if you want to do grass, you could like flick up like this. That's an option, but I'm not gonna do it. Well, I might do it, but yeah, you can do that. That's definitely an option. And then once you got that in place, you can add texture to the wood, or the bark, the lumber. And I suggest if you're using a brush pen, you might want to use like just go in with like a smaller line width, to like, because you don't want to make the outside lines. You don't want to make the outlines like too similar to the texture you're trying to add to the wood and everything. So it's a good idea to go in with a smaller line width. And if you're not using a brush pen and you're using like regular liners, that's totally an option too. And now that we got that in place, we can erase these regular lines that we placed already. Our basic shape, the basic cone shape, is not there anymore, so we don't need it anymore, so we can erase it. And then if you want, you could add like a horizontal line along the back for the background. And what I like to do is I like to scribble in some shading along the bottom. Let's try to add some shading to the tree as well. Let's add like a big circle, because the bottom of the tree is kind of like a circle, like right around here. So you can add a shadow beneath there. But if you're really like serious about the shadows and you want to make the shadow like the light is over here, and you can make the shadow like hang off the tree a little bit, that's totally fine. But I'm not mandating you to do it, so you can go along with that. And then like I said, we can make like the light, we can make the shadows like right about here, and then the light will be coming from over here, so we can do that as well, making some more shadows. But first we're gonna add like a little bit of shading to the tree itself before adding the shadows. So what I like to do is I like to make shading right here beneath like this layer, because this part is on top of this layer and this part's on top of this layer. So you know, something like that where I want to add shadow to the tree, if there is no lighting in my illustration, but there should be. But that's what I like to do. But I want to add like light shading to like the bottom layer of here, if you know what I mean. Or you can color the entire thing and have like the shadows where you actually want them. It's not that big of a deal. Just go lightly with it, and then have it, and then like apply a darker just like apply a bit more pressure on this side where the shadows are going to be. And then color in this part too. Be careful with it. Alright. And then when I'm drawing a pine tree, I always forget to shade in the wood, because I'm always like, the main subject of the pine tree is like the leaves itself. So I tend to like focus on those more. But when I feel like I'm done with shading the leaves, I keep forgetting about the wood down here at the bottom. So I just don't do it, only because I forget. And then adding deep shadows here, and then underneath each layer. Alright, and then if you want to, this is something I really do if I can find my pencil. Something I like to do is, and if I feel like the shading isn't much, I like to go in with my black colored pencils to like darken up the shading. Only if necessary. I'm not, like I said, I'm not mandating you to do like every single thing that I'm doing. Like being extra with doing the shading or adding details to everything, basically. So like I said, this stuff isn't required, so you can just do what you want with it. Just showing you guys how I do my sketching a little bit, basically, other than how to draw the tree itself. And then if you want, you can also add it to the wood down here, and then to the cast shadow down here. And to be honest, you could use your brush pen on this shading, because what I like to do is I like to scribble in some shading down here. Like I said, with this technique that I did, I can start with some pressure and then flick up. That's what I kind of do, except I got some dexterity when applying these lines down here. This is hatching, by the way, if you don't know what it is. It's the type of shading you can do with your line art. So you can do that, and it gives your future self like where the shadows are going to be. But like I said, you don't have to do any of that. But that's how you do a pine tree with just 2 pencils and a brush pen. So if you like today's video, give it a like and a comment, and subscribe to my channel for more videos every week. And I'll see you in my next one.
I cut my nigga like a pancake.